Hello, friend. Welcome to History ZZZ. Get comfortable. Let your body settle into wherever you are resting. Let your shoulders drop. Unclench your jaw. Take one slow breath in and let it go. Tonight, I want to take you somewhere small. Not a great empire, not a famous city, just a small island, about 140 acres, half a mile long, a mile off the coast of Nova Scotia in the cold gray waters of Mahone Bay. There are oak trees on the island, meadows, a beach. It looks like 100 other small islands along that coast. But for 230 years, people have been coming here and digging. They have spent fortunes, they have lost their lives. 6 people are confirmed dead, killed by the island itself, and no one, not one person in 2.5 centuries, has found what they came for. Or if they have, they never told anyone. This is Oak Island, and we're gonna dig tonight. The year is 1795. A 16-year-old boy named Daniel McGinnis rows himself out to Oak Island on a summer afternoon. He has been to the island before. The local boys all came here sometimes to explore, to fish, to get away. But today he notices something he has not seen before. In a clearing near the eastern end of the island, the ground dips. A circular depression, maybe 4 feet across, like something was dug here and then filled back in. The soil is darker than the surrounding earth, looser, and in the oak tree above it, an old branch has been cut off about 15 feet up. Hanging from the stub, or so the story goes, a rusted ship's tackle block. Someone used this tree as a pulley. Someone lowered something down here. Daniel McGinnis rows back to the mainland. He finds his friends John Smith and Anthony Vaughn. He brings shovels. They come back the next morning and they start to dig. The 3 boys dig. The soil is loose and easy at first, clear evidence of previous digging. At 2 feet down, they hit a layer of flat flagstones, not natural rock, placed there deliberately. They remove the flagstones and keep digging. At 10 feet, the shovels hit wood, a platform of oak logs, fitted carefully across the diameter of the shaft, the ends sunk into the clay walls on either side. They pry up the logs. Beneath them, more loose fill, more digging. At 20 feet, another platform of oak logs. At 30 feet, another. The boys are digging in a constructed shaft. Someone built this. Someone put these platforms here deliberately, one every 10 feet, going down and down. The boys are 3 teenage farmhands with shovels. They cannot dig much deeper without proper equipment. They stop at 30 feet. They go home. They will spend the rest of their lives trying to reach the bottom. The boys told people. Of course they did. Word spread through the small towns along Mahone Bay. There was something on Oak Island, something worth digging for. 8 years later, in 1803, a group of investors from the nearby town of Onslow formed a company, the Onslow Company, the first of many treasure-hunting syndicates that would work the island over the next 2 centuries. They brought proper equipment, workers, pumps. They found what the boys had found, the log platforms, every 10 feet going deeper. But now they also found other things. At 40 feet, a layer of charcoal. At 50 feet, a layer of putty. Ship's putty, the kind used to seal wooden hulls. At 60 feet, a layer of coconut fiber. Coconut. The nearest coconut palm is thousands of miles from Nova Scotia. Someone brought these materials here deliberately. Someone packed them into this shaft as sealing layers, as if protecting whatever lay below. At 90 feet, they found something else. At 90 feet, they pulled up a flat stone. It was different from the flagstones found near the surface. This stone was about 2 feet long, dark and smooth, and it was covered in symbols, not random marks, deliberate characters carved with precision, a cipher of some kind. No one in Nova Scotia in 1803 could read it. The stone was taken to Halifax. Scholars examined it. It was displayed in the window of a bookbinder's shop for years. Later, in the 1860s, a professor claimed to have decoded it. His translation: 40 feet below, 2 million pounds are buried. Skeptics pointed out that the professor's translation was convenient, too convenient, like a message written by the people who needed investors. The stone itself eventually disappeared. No one knows where it is. No photographs survive from the period. What it said, if it said anything at all, is lost. They kept digging past the stone. At 98 feet, a worker's crowbar struck something hard. Wood, it sounded like. A chest, perhaps. A vault. The thing they had come for, within reach. They stopped for the night. They would dig it out in the morning. When they came back in the morning, the pit had flooded. Overnight, water had poured in. The shaft was full to 33 feet below the surface. They pumped all day. The water level did not drop. They dug a second shaft nearby, planning to tunnel across at depth. The second shaft flooded too. Immediately, the water in the two shafts found the same level and held it. The Onslow Company gave up and went home. It would be decades before anyone tried again. But when they did, they found something that changed everything. The flooding was not an accident. In the 1850s, another group, the Truro Company, came to Oak Island with better tools and a theory. If the water was not natural groundwater, then it had to be coming from somewhere specific. They searched the island's shoreline. What they found on the south beach stunned them. A drainage system. Hidden just below the sand, 5 channels, each lined with flat stones and filled with coconut fiber, converging into a single funnel that led directly to the money pit. The shaft had been booby-trapped. Whoever built the money pit had also engineered a flood system. If any excavation reached a certain depth, the sea would rush in through those hidden channels and fill the shaft. The engineering required to build this, in the 1700s or earlier on a remote island, was extraordinary. This was not a simple hole in the ground. This was a vault built by someone who knew exactly what they were doing. Someone who did not want it opened. Who built the money pit? This is the question that has driven 2 centuries of obsession. The engineering is real. The flood system is real. The coconut fiber and the charcoal and the ship's putty are real. Someone built this. But who? The theories are many. Pirates. Captain Kidd, the most famous of all, was known to operate in these waters before his capture and execution in 1701. Some believe his treasure, or Blackbeard's, or any of a dozen others, lies at the bottom. The Spanish ships laden with gold from the New World sailed these coasts. Some were lost, some were hidden. The British military. During the Revolutionary War, the British controlled Nova Scotia. Did they bury something here for safekeeping? The French, Francis Bacon, the Knights Templar, the Freemasons. Every theory has its adherents, its evidence, its passionate defenders. None has been proven. The island keeps its secret. The island has a cost. In 1861, during a pumping operation, a boiler exploded. 1 man was scalded to death. In 1897, a worker was pulled into a pump mechanism. He survived barely. In 1965, 4 men died in a single afternoon. Bob Restall, the expedition leader, went down into a shaft and lost consciousness, likely from carbon monoxide or hydrogen sulfide gas trapped in the dig. His son Bobby went down to help him and was overcome too. 2 workers went in after them. All 4 died before they could be pulled out. The island is said to require 7 deaths before its treasure will be found. 6 have died. Some say the prophecy has been satisfied, others say there's one more to come. No one who has dug here takes that lightly. The ground is patient. The ground has time. In 1909, a young man named Franklin Delano Roosevelt came to Oak Island. He was 27 years old, recently graduated from Harvard Law, not yet the governor, not yet the president. He came as part of the Old Gold Salvage and Wrecking Company, a treasure hunting syndicate organized by a man named Henry Bowden. The expedition found nothing, but Roosevelt never forgot the island. For the rest of his life, through his years in the New York Senate as Assistant Secretary of the Navy, through his presidency, through the New Deal and the Second World War, he maintained a correspondence with the people still digging on Oak Island. He followed the news of each attempt. He never stopped hoping someone would reach the bottom. He never went back. He died in 1945, before the mystery was solved, which is to say, before now, which is to say, it still has not been solved. In 1897, drillers with a core sample drill reached 155 feet. The drill passed through a soft layer, wood they thought, then through a gap, then through more wood. Then they hit something the driller described as feeling like cement, then something soft and loose that the drill churned through easily. When they pulled the drill bit back up, it carried something, fragments of wood, a small piece of what appeared to be parchment, about half an inch square. On it, in old ink, 2 letters. Some say they read V, others say we. Parchment at 155 feet, in a watertight chamber. If genuine, this was evidence of something extraordinary. Documents perhaps, a manuscript. Something worth protecting behind an elaborate flood system and a century of oak log platforms. The parchment fragment disappeared into private hands. No photograph was taken. Some say it was real. Some say it was fabricated. The drill does not care about the argument. Let us sit with the theories for a moment. The pirate theory is the oldest and the most popular. Captain Kidd was known to have buried treasure. He said so himself before his execution, reportedly as a bargaining chip he never got to use. His known range included the North American coast. The Francis Bacon theory is stranger and more elaborate, that the original works of Shakespeare, written by Bacon in this theory, were hidden on Oak Island in cipher manuscripts, along with evidence of his authorship. The Marie Antoinette theory holds that the French crown jewels were smuggled out of France during the Revolution, brought to Nova Scotia by French naval officers, and hidden here. The Knights Templar theory connects the island to the medieval religious order suppressed by the French king in 1307, whose supposed treasure has been missing ever since. None of these theories lack evidence exactly. They all lack proof. The water always wins. Every expedition that has gotten deep enough has eventually been stopped by the same thing. The sea comes in. Modern analysis has identified at least 2 separate flood tunnel systems, one from the South Beach, one from the north. Some researchers believe there are more, creating a complex network of channels that can flood any shaft from multiple directions. The engineering required to create this system, precise, pre-planned, invisible from the surface, staggers the imagination. It would have required surveying the island's geology, mapping the natural drainage patterns, then digging artificial channels to redirect tidal flow. All of this presumably in secret, with only hand tools, by people who then sailed away and left no record. The water knows where everything is. The water has been guarding it for centuries. The water is very patient. The television show changed everything. Starting in 2014, a production company began filming a reality series following two brothers, Rick and Marty McGinnis from Michigan, as they attempted to solve the Oak Island mystery with modern technology. The McGinnis brought ground-penetrating radar, metal detectors, core drills, sonar, remotely operated underwater vehicles. They employed archaeologists and geologists and historians. They spent millions of dollars. The show ran for 11 seasons. They found things: medieval coins, a Templar cross, pieces of Spanish copper from the 17th century, ancient manuscripts in a French language, what appeared to be wooden structures deep underground. They did not find a vault. They did not find a treasure chamber. They did not reach the bottom of the money pit. Every season, the narrator promised that this might be the year the mystery was solved. It was not the year the mystery was solved. The swamp is the new mystery. For most of the island's excavation history, attention focused on the money pit in the eastern end. But modern ground-penetrating radar and sonar have revealed something unexpected in the central swamp area. The swamp is not natural. Analysis suggests it was originally dry land that was artificially flooded. Beneath it, evidence of wooden structures, possibly a slipway, possibly a dock, and in the swamp itself, dredging has brought up fragments of ancient wood that carbon date to the 1200s to 1400s, centuries before European settlement of Nova Scotia, before even Columbus. If accurate, this changes everything. The island was visited and worked long before anyone assumed. The people who built the money pit may not have been the first people to leave something here. The layers go deeper than the shaft. Let us think about the island itself for a moment. 140 acres, half a mile long, the water on all sides cold and gray. The Mahone Bay area has an unusual geology. The bedrock is anhydrite, which dissolves in water over time, creating natural cavities and underground passages. Some researchers now believe that the money pit may not be entirely man-made, that whoever built it may have found a natural shaft or cavity and improved upon it, using the island's own geology as part of the vault system. The flood tunnels may have been partly natural, the builders simply redirecting what was already there. This does not make the mystery smaller, it makes it larger. A civilization sophisticated enough to survey the island's geology, understand the tidal flows, and design a vault that works with the natural hydrology rather than against it. That is not a simple pirate with a shovel. That is an engineer. People have lost everything on this island. John Smith, one of the original 3 boys who dug in 1795, eventually bought the land around the money pit and spent decades trying to reach the bottom. He died without success. Frederick Blair, a Nova Scotia businessman, spent 45 years, from 1893 to his death in 1951, pursuing the Oak Island treasure. He never found it. He never stopped believing it was there. Gilbert Hedden, a New Jersey steel company owner, bought the rights to dig in the 1930s and spent his entire personal fortune on the island. He went broke. He sold his company. He still visited the island until he died. The island does something to people. It is not just greed. Plenty of treasure hunters have given up on unsuccessful digs and walked away. The people who get caught by Oak Island cannot stop. The mystery becomes part of them. They cannot go home and simply not know. There is another possibility that serious researchers discuss quietly. Maybe there is nothing there. Maybe the money pit is an elaborate natural sinkhole. The anhydrite geology creates exactly this kind of feature, a circular depression that can develop wooden debris inside it from fallen trees over centuries. Maybe the coconut fiber and charcoal are not packing materials but natural deposits. Coconut fiber was used in ships as ballast and washing material, and fragments have been found on many North American beaches of the period. Maybe the flooding is just the island's natural hydrology, made worse by generations of excavation that have destroyed the original geology and created the very flood problems they were supposedly designed to prevent. Maybe Daniel McGinnis found a natural hole, told his friends. They dug it out. And every subsequent generation has been elaborating on a story that was never as dramatic as it seemed. Maybe. But then, what was the parchment? What was the cipher stone? What are the wooden structures in the swamp? The island at night is quiet. The generators are off. The drilling rigs sit still against the sky. The excavation shafts are covered with wooden boards and safety fencing. The research building where the Lagina brothers store their artifacts is locked. Somewhere under the ground, the water moves. The tidal system is always active. Even now, as you listen to this, the Atlantic is breathing in and out through those channels, or through the natural cavities, or through whatever network of passages fills and drains the island with the rhythm of the sea. The oak trees stand in the dark. Their roots go deep. Some of them have been standing here since before the first diggers arrived. If the island has a secret, and something surely put those log platforms there, one every 10 feet, going down and down, then the island is keeping it. The island is patient. The island has time. Here's what we know for certain. Something was done on Oak Island. The log platforms exist. The coconut fiber exists. The flood channels exist. They have been mapped, measured, and confirmed by engineers. The 18th and 19th century drillings are documented by contemporary accounts from multiple independent sources. Someone built something here. The engineering required to do so was sophisticated. The location was chosen deliberately. The effort required was enormous. Why would anyone do all of this for nothing? The thing at the bottom of the money pit. If there is a bottom, if the flooding has not destroyed it entirely over the centuries of excavation attempts, maybe treasure, maybe documents, maybe something no one has thought to guess, or it may be gone, dissolved by the water, rotted into nothing across 300 years of flooding. The secret may already be lost. We may be digging for an empty room. It is late. The island settles into its nighttime quiet. The machinery sleeps. The bay is still except for the tide. Somewhere in Traverse City, Michigan, Rick and Marty Lagina are probably looking at the same data they have been looking at for years, trying to find the thing they missed, the angle that will finally make everything clear. There are people all over the world who think about Oak Island the way some people think about the Ark of the Covenant, or the missing Library of Alexandria, or the fate of the Roanoke colony, not as history but as an open wound, a thing that should have been found by now, a thing that refuses to be found. Let the island settle into the dark, let the water move under the ground, let the oak trees stand in their patient silence. Some questions do not have answers yet. That is all right. Rest. Thank you for spending this night on Oak Island. The search continues. As of the time of this recording, the money pit has not been solved. New excavations are planned. New theories are being developed. The island is still owned by the Lagina family and their partners, and they have not given up. 230 years of digging. 6 confirmed deaths, millions of dollars spent. Multiple presidents, businessmen, engineers, and ordinary people consumed by the same question. What is at the bottom of the money pit? Sleep well. The island will still be there in the morning,